Alan Watts, a renowned philosopher and spiritual teacher, offered profound insights into the nature of the ego and its profound impact on creativity. According to Watts, the ego can be understood as the mental construct of our self-image, shaped by our beliefs, experiences, and memories. It is the part of us that identifies as an individual separate from the rest of the world. Watts emphasized that this sense of separateness, perpetuated by the ego, is a fundamental illusion. He argued that it leads us to perceive ourselves as isolated entities in a vast and disconnected universe. This illusion of separation, he believed, could be a significant barrier to creativity. The ego, as Watts described it, also acts as a control mechanism. It constantly evaluates and judges our experiences and surroundings, seeking to protect our self-image. While this can be beneficial in certain situations, such as ensuring our physical safety, it can also hinder creative expression. The ego tends to resist risks, fears failure, and avoids stepping outside of comfort zones, all of which are essential elements of creative exploration. Watts often pointed out that much of human fear and anxiety can be traced back to the ego's relentless need for self-preservation. It fears rejection, criticism, and the unknown, all of which are common experiences in creative pursuits. This fear can paralyze creative thinking and stifle innovation. To truly unleash one's creative potential, Watts suggested transcending the ego. However, he clarified that this doesn't mean eliminating the ego entirely. Rather, it involves recognizing the ego as a construct of the mind and not the true self. By doing so, individuals can liberate themselves from the constraints of self-doubt and fear, allowing their creative ideas to flow more freely. Watts believed that when the ego is transcended, individuals can enter a state of creative flow. In this state, they become fully immersed in the creative process, unburdened by the ego's inhibitions and critical judgments. This allows for a more authentic and unrestricted expression of creativity. Moreover, going beyond the ego, as Watts described it, fosters a sense of unity and connection with the world. It enables individuals to see themselves as an integral part of the broader tapestry of existence, rather than isolated beings. This sense of interconnectedness can inspire creative ideas that draw from a more profound and expansive perspective. The ego, in its role as the conscious mind's self-image and identity, can significantly impede the creative process and self-expression in several ways. Firstly, the ego often fosters self-doubt. It makes individuals hyper-aware of how they are perceived by others and constantly evaluates their own abilities. This self-criticism can lead to a fear of failure or judgment, inhibiting individuals from taking creative risks. They may avoid exploring new ideas or stepping outside of their comfort zones because the ego seeks to protect its self-image. Secondly, the ego tends to establish rigid boundaries around what is considered acceptable or safe in terms of self-expression. It may conform to societal norms and expectations, causing individuals to suppress unconventional or unorthodox creative impulses. This conformity can hinder the exploration of unique, innovative, or avant-garde ideas. Additionally, the ego is often preoccupied with the concept of success and achievement, tying self-worth to external validation. This focus on external validation can lead individuals to create solely for the purpose of gaining approval or recognition, rather than pursuing their creative passions authentically. It can be challenging to tap into one's genuine creative voice when driven by the ego's need for external validation. Lastly, the ego may foster a fixation on control and perfectionism. Individuals under the influence of the ego might become overly focused on getting every detail right, or meeting high standards. This perfectionist mindset can lead to creative paralysis, as it becomes difficult to move forward or complete creative projects due to an unattainable quest for perfection. Alan Watts, a prominent philosopher and spiritual teacher, held profound views on the nature of the ego and the path to self-realization. He saw the ego as a construct of the mind, a self-image that humans create to define themselves in relation to the external world. According to Watts, this egoic identity is illusory and ultimately separates individuals from the true essence of their being. Watts believed that genuine self-realization involves transcending this illusory egoic identity. It requires recognizing the ego as a mental construct and understanding that it is not the true self. Instead, self-realization means connecting with a deeper, more authentic aspect of one's existence that goes beyond the limitations of the ego. One central theme in Watts' teachings is the dissolution of dualities. He argued that the ego perpetuates dualistic distinctions, such as self and other or subject and object, creating a fragmented perception of reality. Self-realization, in his view, entails a profound shift in consciousness where these dualities dissolve. This dissolution leads to a sense of unity and oneness with the universe, where the boundaries between the self and the world blur. Watts also stressed the importance of living in the present moment. The ego tends to dwell on the past or fear the future, resisting the impermanence of life. Self-realization, according to Watts, involves fully accepting the ever-changing nature of existence and being present in the here and now. Alan Watts offered practical insights into transcending the ego and embracing a more liberated way of living. He advocated for surrender and letting go, encouraging individuals to release their attachment to the ego's desires and fears. By surrendering to the flow of life and relinquishing the need for control, one can experience a more authentic and liberated existence. Watts also championed the concepts of playfulness and creativity. He viewed the ego as a serious and rigid construct that often stifles spontaneity and imagination. Transcending the ego, in his philosophy, entails reconnecting with one's childlike wonder and embracing the creative, playful nature inherent in all humans. Moreover, Watts explored various mystical traditions and their practices. He suggested that certain meditative and contemplative practices could facilitate ego dissolution and lead to transcendent experiences. These mystical experiences, he believed, provide glimpses into the deeper, interconnected nature of reality, allowing individuals to transcend the limitations of the ego. The connection between going beyond the ego and unlocking creativity is a deep and transformative process. Alan Watts described the ego as a construct of self-image influenced by experiences and beliefs. This self-image often imposes self-doubt, limitations, and a fear of judgment. When individuals transcend the ego, it results in a profound shift in their mental and emotional state. They experience a sense of liberation from the constant self-criticism and fear of judgment that the ego often brings. This newfound freedom allows them to explore creative ideas with confidence and authenticity. Creativity thrives on risk-taking, embracing unconventional ideas, and stepping outside of comfort zones. The ego, driven by the fear of failure or criticism, can stifle these creative endeavors. Transcending the ego encourages openness to creative risk-taking, fostering innovation and imaginative thinking. Additionally, ego dissolution encourages an open and receptive mindset. Creativity often emerges from fresh perspectives and unconventional thinking, which can flourish when the ego's rigid boundaries are removed. Individuals become more receptive to alternative viewpoints, broadening their creative horizons. Moreover, creative inspiration often arises when individuals are fully present in the moment. The ego tends to dwell on past regrets or future anxieties, which can hinder the creative flow. Going beyond the ego enables individuals to be fully present, allowing them to tap into their creative instincts more freely. Now that you've explored the wisdom of Alan Watts and how transcending the ego can unlock your creativity, it's time to put these insights into practice. Start by incorporating some of the practical tips and exercises inspired by Watts' teachings into your daily life. Whether it's through mindfulness meditation, playful exploration, or embracing impermanence, take the first step towards a more liberated and creative existence. Remember, creativity is a journey, and by going beyond the ego, you can tap into your full creative potential. So don't wait. Begin your creative journey today and watch as your authentic self-expression flourishes. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of Alan Watts' profound teachings on transcending the ego and unlocking creativity. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to enhance your creative journey. If you enjoyed this content and found it valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking discussions and practical wisdom. And as you embark on your creative path, always remember the words of Alan Watts: "To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water, because if you do, you will sink and drown. Instead, you relax and float." So, relax, float, and let your creativity flow freely. Until next time, stay creative and stay inspired.